The lights die, the fridge starts warming, the tap may stop, your phone is bleeding battery, and the 7 things that matter are already in your house. A manual can opener, unscented bleach, aluminum foil, plastic bottles, trash bags, towels, and a heavy cooking pot with a lid. That is the list. Not a bunker. Not a $5,000 solar fantasy. 7 boring objects that become life support equipment when the grid rolls over and plays dead. You have about 4 hours before your refrigerator becomes a science experiment, about 1 day before bad sanitation gets disgusting, and maybe 3 days before thirst turns civilized people into raccoons in shoes. The people who panic will sprint to stores that are already empty. You are going to weaponize the junk drawer, the laundry room, and the cabinet under the sink. First move, grab the manual can opener, not the electric one, genius, the hand-cranked metal dinosaur that everyone mocks until the power goes out and their pantry becomes a museum of sealed calories. Canned food is civilization in a steel shell. Beans, tuna, soup, fruit, vegetables, chili, all shelf-stable and already cooked most of the time. In a blackout, calories you can access without electricity are not snacks. They are operational fuel. Run the numbers. 1 can of beans can give you around 300 calories, plus protein, salt, and fiber. That does not make you a king, but it keeps your brain working while everyone else is staring at frozen pizza like it betrayed them. Here is the tactical part nobody respects. During the first hour, eat from the fridge first, then the freezer, then the pantry. Cold food is a ticking clock. Canned food is your reserve force, and reserve forces do not get wasted because you were bored. Now the dark truth. Without a manual can opener, desperation gets stupid. People stab cans with knives, bend screwdrivers, slice hands, contaminate food, and turn dinner into a tetanus audition. Congratulations, you survived the blackout and got defeated by ravioli. Keep 1 manual can opener in the kitchen, 1 in your emergency box, and 1 taped inside a pantry door. Redundancy is not paranoia. Redundancy is what happens when reality notices you had only 1 plan and laughs. The second item is unscented household bleach. Not splashless, not scented, not lavender meadow chemical perfume. Plain unscented bleach is sanitation, and sanitation is the invisible wall between a bad weekend and a medical disaster. Blackouts are not just about darkness. They are about failing pumps, dead refrigerators, spoiled food, dirty surfaces, backed up toilets, and water systems that may lose pressure. Once pressure drops, contamination can creep into places you assumed were protected by magic government plumbing. Bleach gives you 2 powers: disinfecting surfaces and treating questionable water when no safer option exists. The basic field rule is tiny amounts, careful measuring, and patience. More is not better. More is how amateurs turn water into a swimming pool cocktail. For clear water, use a small measured dose of plain unscented bleach. Mix it well and wait at least 30 minutes. The water should have a faint chlorine smell, not a chemical punch in the face. When in doubt, filter dirt first through cloth, then disinfect. This does not make muddy swamp juice gourmet. It reduces biological risk when boiling is impossible and clean water is unavailable. If you have official local guidance, follow it, because concentration varies and chemistry does not care about your confidence. Bleach also turns your trash area, toilet zone, and food prep surfaces from disease playgrounds into manageable problems. Wipe, wait, and keep contaminated rags separate. In collapse math, cleanliness is not manners. Cleanliness is force protection. The third item is aluminum foil. And yes, the shiny stuff in your drawer is more useful than half the gadgets sold to terrified suburban dads. Foil reflects heat, blocks light, shapes fire, protects food, boosts weak illumination, and helps create improvised cooking surfaces. Put foil behind a candle or flashlight and you create a reflector. That turns a weak little glow into directed light instead of wasting half of it on the wall behind it. It is not a movie spotlight, but it can make a room usable. Foil can wrap warm food, line a pot lid, cover containers, and reduce heat loss. It can also protect surfaces when cooking with approved emergency stoves used outside or in properly ventilated safe areas. Notice that word, safe. Carbon monoxide is not a villain with theme music, it just kills quietly. Never run charcoal, grills, gas generators, or fuel-burning gear indoors. Not in the garage. Not near a cracked window, not because your cousin saw a video and said it was fine. Your cousin is not a carbon monoxide detector. Foil is also good for light discipline. In a long blackout, a glowing window advertises supplies, warmth, and probably snacks. Cover narrow gaps, redirect light downward, and stop turning your living room into a lighthouse for every bored opportunist on the block. The fourth item is plastic bottles. Empty soda bottles, juice bottles, water bottles. The ugly mismatched army under your sink. In normal life, clutter. In a blackout, storage, thermal mass, ice management, hand washing stations, and emergency lantern bodies. Before the storm hits, fill bottles with water and freeze some of them. Frozen bottles keep your freezer colder longer, then become drinking water as they melt. That is not fancy. That is thermodynamics doing community service. A full freezer holds cold better than an empty freezer because ice has thermal mass. Every frozen bottle is a little battery made of cold. When the power dies, do not keep opening the door to emotionally check on your chicken nuggets. Cold air is not loyal, it escapes. You can also turn a clear bottle into a lantern. Strap a flashlight or headlamp against it with the beam pointing into the water, and the bottle diffuses the light. Suddenly you have room glow instead of a tiny prison beam stabbing one corner. Plastic bottles also let you ration. Mark lines on the side with a marker. Morning, afternoon, evening. When stress hits, people either underdrink until they crash or overdrink because anxiety feels like thirst. Measurement keeps the little chaos goblin in your skull on a leash. The fifth item is trash bags. Big contractor bags if you have them, kitchen bags if you do not. They are waterproofing, waste control, emergency ponchos, ground barriers, window patches, privacy screens, and the fastest way to keep filth from spreading through your shelter. Sanitation fails faster than courage. When toilets stop flushing, trash piles up, diapers sit, food spoils, and pets do what pets do. Disease risk rises. The grid can be down for one night, and your house can smell like a medieval alley by breakfast. Line a bucket with a trash bag, add absorbent material if you have it, and create a controlled emergency toilet. Keep liquids and solids separated when possible. Tie bags carefully, and store waste away from food and living areas. This is not glamorous. Neither is dysentery. Trash bags also protect your feet and clothing from rain when you must step outside. They cover broken windows, wrap supplies, shield bedding from leaks, and create a vapor barrier under sleeping pads. Primitive? Absolutely. Effective? Also absolutely. Cut arm and head holes and you have an ugly poncho. Cut one side open and you have a waterproof sheet. Tape it over a drafty doorway and you have a crude thermal barrier. The bag does not care about fashion. It cares about not dying wet and cold. The sixth item is towels. Towels are soft until the power dies. Then they become insulation, filters, draft blockers, splints, privacy screens, sweat management, spill control, and emergency warmth. Never underestimate fabric. Fabric is low-tech armor against exposure. In winter, roll towels and block the bottom of doors. Cover window gaps. Layer them under blankets. Your mission is to reduce heat loss because your body is a furnace that runs on calories, and calories get expensive when the microwave is a dead rectangle. In summer, towels are cooling tools. Wet one, wring it out and place it around your neck while sitting in moving air from a battery fan if you have one. Evaporation steals heat from your body. That is physics, not wellness influencer nonsense. Towels also pre-filter water. They do not make water safe by themselves, so do not get cocky. But they can remove sediment before boiling or chemical treatment, which makes the next step work better and keeps grit out of your mouth like you are not eating driveway soup. Keep one towel set for bodies, one for cleaning, and one for dirty work. Mark them with tape or marker. Cross-contamination is how people who had supplies still end up sick because they wiped a counter with the same rag they used near waste. The seventh item is a heavy cooking pot with a lid. Stainless steel, enamel, cast iron, whatever you already own. A pot is how you boil water, heat food, manage sanitation, melt snow, create steam, and turn random pantry ingredients into something your nervous system recognizes as a meal. Boiling water is one of the most reliable ways to make biologically unsafe water safer when you can do it with proper equipment and ventilation. A rolling boil matters because heat damages organisms that want to convert your intestines into a haunted water slide. Again, not glamorous, extremely important. The lid is not decoration. A lid traps heat, reduces fuel use, speeds boiling, keeps debris out, and turns your cooking setup from amateur camp chaos into controlled energy management. In a blackout, wasted heat is wasted fuel, and wasted fuel is wasted options. A pot also lets you batch cook the food most likely to spoil first. If meat or vegetables are thawing, cook them while they are still safe instead of waiting until the smell makes the decision for you. Then eat, share carefully, or cool properly if conditions allow. Here is the insider move. Blackout cooking is not about gourmet meals. It is about morale, salt, hydration, and warm calories. A hot bowl of soup can calm a room faster than a motivational speech from someone holding a dead phone. Now let us stack the 7 items into an actual plan. Manual can opener opens calories. Bleach controls microbes. Foil controls light and heat. Plastic bottles store water and cold. Trash bags control waste. Towels control temperature and contamination. The pot controls water and food. That is a household survival system hiding in plain sight. Most people think preparedness means buying exotic gear. That is consumer brainwashing with a camo paint job. Gear is useful, but systems keep you alive, and systems start with what you can grab in 60 seconds, while the neighborhood is still saying, "Is your power out too?" Your first blackout protocol is simple. Fill every clean bottle, pot, and container with water immediately if the tap still runs. Water pressure can vanish without giving a farewell speech. Store it in sinks, tubs, bottles, and coolers before everyone else figures out the faucet is not guaranteed. Your second protocol is cold chain discipline. Keep fridge and freezer doors closed. Decide what to eat first before opening them. Move quick, shut the door, and stop browsing like you are shopping in your own refrigerator. The cold air owes you nothing. Your third protocol is light discipline. Use one room as the active room, not the whole house. Build a bottle lantern. Place foil reflectors carefully, and keep windows covered. Comfort lighting is nice. Operational lighting is smarter. Your fourth protocol is sanitation. Pick a waste zone, line the bucket, stage trash bags, set bleach solution for surfaces, and separate towels. Do this early, before things smell weird and everybody suddenly develops strong opinions about where the emergency bathroom should be. Your fifth protocol is heat or cooling control. In cold weather, shrink your living space and seal drafts with towels and bags. In hot weather, shade windows, use damp towels, hydrate steadily, and reduce movement during peak heat. Survival is often less heroic than sitting still intelligently. Your sixth protocol is cooking safety. Cook outside when using fuel-burning emergency gear, unless the device is specifically rated for indoor use and you have proper ventilation and carbon monoxide protection. Open flame indoors is not bravery. It is gambling against a gas you cannot smell. Your seventh protocol is inventory. Write down what you have, what is open, what is spoiled, what water is treated, and what food gets eaten next. Panic hates paperwork because paperwork turns fear into tasks. That is why you do it. Here is where these items become multipliers. A towel pre-filters water, the pot boils it, the bottles store it, and bleach backs you up when boiling is not available. That is one chain. Break the chain and you are improvising. Build the chain and you are operating. Another chain. The can opener accesses food, the pot heats it, foil preserves heat, and trash bags contain the waste. That is food logistics. Every army in history learned that logistics wins fights before courage even gets invited to the meeting. Another chain. Towels seal drafts, trash bags patch leaks, foil redirects heat, and plastic bottles full of hot water can warm a sleeping area when handled safely. That is thermal management. You are not staying cozy. You are defending core temperature. Do not place sealed bottles near excessive heat, and do not use scalding water like some medieval punishment device. Warm means warm. Safe means safe. The goal is to sleep through the night, not explain to urgent care that you fought a soda bottle and lost. Now let me hit you with the uncomfortable part. In a long blackout, your biggest threat may not be darkness. It may be bad decisions made by tired people in groups. Families argue. Neighbors knock. Kids get scared. Someone wants to open the freezer again. Someone always wants to open the freezer again. So you create rules before the mood collapses. One person manages water. One manages food. One manages sanitation. One watches information if battery power allows. Division of labor turns a household from a panic blob into a tiny functioning unit. You also need a blackout box. Not someday. Not after watching 6 more videos and buying a tactical shovel with a compass in the handle. Today, put the can opener, flashlight, batteries, lighter, trash bags, foil, gloves, towels, written contacts, and basic first aid in one container. Keep bleach near it but stored safely, upright, away from children, away from heat, and never mixed with other cleaners. Especially never mix bleach with ammonia or acids. That chemistry lesson has a body count, and we are not enrolling. For apartments, the same 7 items matter even more. You may not have a yard, generator, fireplace, or private well. Fine. You still have containers, fabric, sanitation bags, canned food, controlled light, and a pot. Small space does not mean helpless. It means disciplined. For suburban houses, your danger is complacency. You assume the garage has something useful because the garage is full. Then the power dies and you discover you own 12 paint trays, one broken rake, and no working can opener. Inventory before reality grades your homework. For rural homes, water and heat become the big game. If your well pump needs electricity, no power means no tap. Fill containers early, know your manual options, and do not wait until the last glass to become a philosopher about infrastructure. For families with kids, turn tasks into roles. Water captain, light captain, trash captain, food checker. Kids handle fear better when they have jobs, and adults handle fear better when kids are not using the last battery to illuminate a stuffed animal trial. For older relatives or medical needs, plan harder. Blackouts can disrupt powered equipment, refrigeration for medications, elevators, oxygen systems, and communications. Household items help, but medical dependency requires backup power plans, provider guidance, and earlier evacuation decisions. Pride is not a battery. Now, because someone in the comments will try to be clever, no, these 7 items do not make you invincible. Nothing makes you invincible. They buy time, reduce risk, protect water, preserve calories, manage waste, and keep your thinking organized. Better odds, not magic. The real advantage is speed. In the first 10 minutes, everyone else is refreshing apps, checking dead Wi-Fi, and asking the group chat what happened. You are filling water, locking in cold, setting light, assigning roles, and pulling the manual can opener out like Excalibur for beans. The second advantage is calm. Calm is not a personality trait. Calm is a checklist. When your hands know what to grab and your brain knows what comes next, fear has less room to start renovating your skull. The third advantage is invisibility, not ninja nonsense, just not advertising. Covered windows, controlled noise, no generator roaring beside an open garage, no bright party house vibe when the whole street is dark. Desperation notices contrast. Do not be contrast. The fourth advantage is hygiene. Clean hands, separated waste, treated water, controlled food surfaces. Boring saves lives. The apocalypse, if it comes, will not only test your courage, it will test whether you washed the spoon. The fifth advantage is morale. Warm food, safe water, a dry place to sit, a little light, and a plan can keep people from spiraling. Morale is not softness. Morale is the glue that keeps the team from becoming 5 separate disasters wearing pajamas. Start tonight with a 5-minute drill. Find the manual can opener. Check the bleach label. Count your trash bags. Freeze 2 water bottles. Put foil, towels, and a lidded pot where you can reach them without digging through a cabinet avalanche. Then write 1 card and tape it inside a cabinet. Water first, cold food second, light discipline third, sanitation fourth, heat control fifth, inventory always. When the lights go out, you do not rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of the instructions you bothered to write down. Test the bottle lantern before you need it. Test the can opener before your hands are shaking. Practice sealing a door with a towel. Practice lining a bucket without making a biohazard burrito. The first attempt should not happen while everyone is hungry and the house smells suspicious. Replace what you use. Rotate canned food. Do not keep emergency cans nobody in the house will eat unless your plan is to survive and suffer out of spite. Food fatigue is real, and in a crisis, morale calories matter too. Keep a printed contact list because your phone is not a sacred object. It is a glass rectangle with a battery addiction. Write down neighbors, family, utility numbers, medical contacts, and local emergency information. Paper looks primitive until the network disappears. Know your neighborhood before it is dark. Where is the nearest high ground if flooding hits? Which streetlights fail first? Which stores become chaos magnets? Reconnaissance is just paying attention before ignorance becomes expensive. And remember this, the best blackout survival item is not on the list. It is the decision to act early while action is still easy. Waiting turns simple tasks into desperate tasks. Early is smooth. Smooth is safe. Safe is the whole game. You can watch the lights fail and become part of the confused crowd, or you can stand up right now and build your 7-item blackout system. Manual can opener, unscented bleach, aluminum foil, plastic bottles, trash bags, towels, heavy pot with a lid. That is your starter kit hiding in plain sight. Open a drawer, open a cabinet, open the pantry, find the 7, stage the 7, test the 7. The unprepared will call this overthinking until the room goes black and their electric can opener becomes a paperweight. Your move.